Hey everyone, it's Jenna Melanson from Canadian Meets Media. Today I'm joined by the Alberta-born, Nashville-based country artist Aaron Goodvin for our latest segment of 5 Qs. Welcome, Aaron.
Hi, how are you? Good to be here.
Nice to have you here. So first off, care to introduce yourself a bit more in depth for our listeners?
Yeah. So I was born in a little northern Alberta town called Spirit River. Still looking for the river. I grew up listening to country music. I was 12 years old when I found out that not everybody loved country music, and I was heartbroken. I couldn't figure that out. All my family played it all around the campfire, and I continued to I just loved it. I just loved music in general. And then I was somewhat of a troubled child growing up, ADHD, and always getting in trouble. And so my mom was always looking for things for me to focus on and hyper focus on, she would say. And I kind of fell in love. I played hockey and I fell in love with music. So those were kind of the two things that I did growing up, and somehow the music has brought me here. So.
Awesome. So you've unveiled your single Country Dance. Tell us a bit about how this song came to be.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a hit years ago. It's still kind of a hit today. It's very strange. It still charts. It's called "Lonely Drum." I'm sure you've heard it.
Mhm.
But in the funny thing about that song is when we would go out and I run into a lot of different artists and you start to have success in the bit. I've been in the business, I think, for 20 plus years, which is crazy. Um, but you get a lot of artists that come up to you and they're like, "Hey, do you have any songs? I'm going in to record. I know you write and you live in Nashville, and I've been a published writer in Nashville for 9 out of the 11 years that I've lived here. And so I have a lot of songs. I write a lot of songs, and when I'm home, that's pretty much all. I'm after this, I'm going to write. So, it's like I constantly have a ton of songs. And so they would ask me, they were like, "Hey, have you got any songs? We're going in to record." And I would be like, "Yeah, I'm sure I do. I'll send you some. And then they would throw in the little caveat. It'd be great if you would send us a lonely drum, like another lonely drum. And I'm like, I'm trying to write another lonely drum. I mean, that song is like such a,
Mhm.
kind of, it's just blows my mind every day that what that song has done and what it continues to do. So who doesn't want another lonely drum? But during COVID, my co-writers Skip Black, Cat Gravitt, that wrote Lonely Drum, we're always talking about Lonely Drum because I mean, it's still relevant every time we write. And we were in COVID, and Cat had moved back to Iowa during this time to be closer to her family, um, and Skip and I were on Zoom. We live in the same town, but we're all on Zoom writing the song, and I remember it being a Friday when we wrote it, and it was just kind of at first we didn't really know what we had, and I think like what's so funny is like COVID was such a weird time, like it was hard to get excited about anything really.
Mhm.
And so we wrote this song and it sat there for about 3 or 4 months. Um, and the work tape of it is just horrible because I'm playing and singing, and then Kat's so excited because this is who she is. She's singing along, but it's like delayed. So so it's like the worst work tape you've ever heard in your life. It doesn't even sound like music. And and I went back and I was messing with stuff that I had, and I went back and I listened to it, and I called Skip and I was like, "Man, I don't know what it is about this song, but you should just demo it and see what happens. And of course, a week later, he's like, "Dude, this thing is a smash. Like, how did we miss this? And he's like, he plays every instrument and does a lot of stuff and programs a lot of stuff. And he was like, "Man, this thing is amazing." So it was after that like we got that back, and I teased it on social media. And because of the response of social media, we were able to like go, we got to put this out. We got to do something with this. So we think this is the next thing. So
Okay, awesome. So you've also just completed your first ever headline run.
yes.
What was the highlight of the tour for you?
Oh man. There was so many, and it was such a challenging, amazing tour. It's touring is not for the faint of heart. It can be pretty grueling, especially when you got a really rough bus company you're dealing with, which we had. And I would love
Oh,
to just tell you how bad they are and never did, but I'm not that kind of a guy. But they weren't very helpful. But there was a couple highlights. Alberta is kind of always a highlight for me just because being from there, I think we
mhm.
sold out every show in Alberta, which is the support there for me and my music has been incredible. Um, One show in particular, we played in St. Albert, which I'd spent 7 years growing up and went to quite a few shows at the Arden Theater.
Okay.
And we were able to play there and headline there, which is pretty amazing. Just because grew up going to that. When I was 17, we moved closer to Edmonton. We moved to St. Albert, so that was definitely a highlight for me.
Awesome. Um, your previous release, which you talked about, Lonely Drum, um, became quite the craze, as you mentioned, even with its own line dance. Um, how does it feel for one of your songs to take off in that way?
Uh, Kind of surreal. I mean, when we wrote that song, we did not. I didn't even know line dancing was still a thing. I mean, I remember growing up, my sister had like line dance VHS tapes that
Yeah.
she would do, in the living room. But like that was the last I heard of it. And and so it was really crazy because we find out that there's this guy named Darren Mitchell in Australia who wrote this line dance for Lonely Drum. And the song just continued to spread. And now today, it's really strange because today you go to Canada and we play in Canada quite a bit and we play this song and it's just like this big hit that everybody loves to sing along to, dance along to, but that's it, right? And we go to other parts of the world, to the US, we've been to France, we've been, to the UK, and you go out there and they're all line dancing. And it's so strange because it's like that's how they're showing you love, they're like, hey, we're line dancing to your song. And I'm like, oh, I like it when you scream and throw your hands in the air and come up to the front of the stage. So it's just kind of just a different, it's a totally different experience, and it has been so amazing just to use that, in a way that can help us. So
Mhm.
pretty wild.
You're very active on TikTok. So, how important would you say social media of this sort is in this day and age?
I mean, I don't know how you could be an artist without it. To be honest, but it's also recognizing that it's a tool. It's a tool to get your music, your name, what you do out there and it can do it in an incredibly fast way. I, I, I've had my challenges with it, because I grew up not knowing what artists did, and
Mhm.
probably what was going on in my head was a lot cooler than what they were actually doing. I could be think they're selling out stadiums and they could be picking up their dog's poop in the yard. So it's like, but the fact that, but the world loves real, and the more real you can be, I think, in today's world, the more relatable you can be. I think that it's a tool. So to be able to use social media to show that, I think it's pretty magical tour. It's not tool. It's not like it's not all of it. I still believe in um playing music and going to play shows and what that does. And I see that happen for me every week.
Mhm.
I go out and I play and I see what I do for people. And I think that that's never going to go away. And I'm so grateful for that. But if I can post a video about a song that I just released and and I literally could get it out to the whole world, I think that's pretty magical. So it's a great tool, and I think it's very important.
Mhm. Did the whole line dance thing go all over into TikTok?
It's like really starting to now. It's
Okay.
it's kind of weird because I'm always thinking about like different ways to do it, and everybody's got these little dances and stuff that they do
Mhm.
for certain songs. And I don't dance like Walker Hayes, so you won't.
Yeah.
I mean, that dude can dance. Like everybody's like, yeah, you just make a little,
Uh-huh.
video of your song and do this little dance. And I was like, yeah, but Walker Hayes can actually dance. Like I don't have those types of skills, so I have to use humor because that's one of my tools anyway. But I think it's starting to like I especially what's crazy is just in the past week with Lonely Drum. I mean, there's been somebody doing the line dance of Lonely Drum on TikTok almost every day. Like I'll get a
Mhm.
notification that somebody's like used my audio. So it's funny how it continues to do that. And I think country dance will be the same as more people get to
Mhm.
learn the dance. We've had quite a few choreographers reach out when we dropped this song on social media. It was like, if this is the next Lonely Drum, like we want to write the dance to it. And I'd be like, well, sure. So we would work out a deal with them, and there's one in particular that a guy out of Mark Paulino is his name, out of Maryland, is he's like, you can't miss him. He's got a big mohawk. It's
Mhm.
like a country dancer with a big mohawk, which is crazy.
Okay. Yeah.
But he's created this dance, and I think it's already number 5 on the line dance chart, which I didn't even know there was a line dance chart, but that's cool. And that's awesome. So it's like it's amazing to be able to create music for people to dance to. I think that's pretty awesome. So
It is. Yeah. What else do you have up your sleeve for 2023?
we we're really excited. We're continuing to tour, and I've been very focused here in the US. I've had 11 years in this and I'm starting to actually feel like this is my home. So
Mhm.
we're really focused on it, and we're really trying to bring the music to people. We have an incredible career in Canada, and we've got a really cool tour I think that we're about to announce up there, that we get to be a part of in a big way. So it's we're constantly kind of working on what the next thing is and what the next tour is, and how can we get out and see more people and make people happy with music. That's always the goal. So
Mhm.
plus we've got another song in the can that'll
Oh,
come out after country dance that we're pretty excited about.
okay. So lots of things coming up.
Yes.
Okay, so that's it for 5 Qs. Thanks for joining me. It was nice talking to you, and congratulations on Country Dance.
Thank you so much, Jenna. Really appreciate you.